Top global CEOs of Boeing, of MasterCard, of Google, of Amazon has gone very well. Also PepsiCo's Indra Nooyi was there. All of these are presidents and CEOs who've had extensive experience doing business with India. But in Narendra Modi, perhaps they see the possibility of real and opportune change. Not just rhetoric, not just promises, not just the usual glad-handing that happens when leaders travel abroad and reach out to investors and business leaders, but perhaps a direct and personal bridge supported by a re-energized establishment and bureaucracy. A single window clearance system, a completely efficient and overhauled establishment is what Narendra Modi has promised, but can he deliver on those promises? Presidents and CEOs will be looking to Modi to deliver on those promises and not just about the rhetoric. Remember, this meeting comes bare hours after a huge public display of adulation among the influential Indian American community in New York City in the United States at Madison Square Garden. But that was fun and games, that was visual spectacle, that was sentiment, a testament to Narendra Modi's own individual appeal. Now it's down to the brass tacks, it's down to business, literally and metaphorically, as he has met these business leaders and he's on his way now to meet with President of the United States, Barack Obama, to forge a new strategic alliance where one of the key themes will definitely be economic reform, investment and business. It's the mega brand India push. Remember, just before Narendra Modi left for the United States, he had a mega Make in India push and event that took place in India. Ajay Banga of MasterCard, the Chief Executive Officer, has said that Make in India is highly possible. Well, shaking hands with Narendra Modi has meant that many of these leaders now perhaps have a direct personal bridge with Narendra Modi. Remember that when the presidents and CEOs of various companies visit India, global mega multinationals, they always try and seek time with the Commerce Minister, with the Prime Minister. Many of them get time, many of them don't because of prior commitments. But this particular meeting, where each and every CEO and president has been carefully chosen, it must be remembered that it isn't the representatives who've been sent. For the Prime Minister, only the CEOs will do. And that's why the representation at this particular meeting has been so uniformly high. It will be the follow-up. It will be what happens next. It will be whether Prime Minister Modi will bring back the requests and the clarifications that these business leaders have had. That will really make all the difference. Was it only about glad-handing? Was it only about a photo op? Or was it really business? Was it something that the Prime Minister of India is prepared to follow up? Because remember, his message there has been India is open for business. We are willing to change, but change cannot be a one-way street. If India is open for business, if India is willing to do business differently, then business leaders need to look at India differently. They cannot regard India in the same way they have in the past as well. Let's go straight across to headlines today's Gaurav Sawant, who's live with us from New York City. Gaurav, it's down to business now. That meeting with business leaders, reported to be a success. A lot of substantive issues were discussed. India is open for business is the big message that Narendra Modi has carried.
Shiv, this in fact is the most crucial part of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit, perhaps as crucial, if not more, than his dinner with Barack Obama later tonight and the meeting with the Obama administration tomorrow. As you well know, it's the business that guides the government in the United States of America. And if Prime Minister Narendra Modi can convince the captains of the American industry, and he's meeting the cream of the American industry, the CEO of Boeing he's just met, now it's KKR and there are several others in that list. If they're all convinced that India is open for business, there will be ease of business in India. And that is what Prime Minister Narendra Modi is promising. Single window clearances, no long gestation periods. They've had a bad experience, as some of them have told him, in the past 10 years. They don't want to see that in the future. Will India then give them a new ease of business? This is his promise. Should that be successful, government policies automatically then change in the United States of America, as we've seen in the past, whether it's with China or several other countries. So this is a very, very crucial meeting that's underway. He would also be meeting the future leadership of the United States of America. He's meeting the Clintons in about an hour from now, Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, investing in the new leadership. He met Nikki Haley, the governor of South Carolina, yesterday. So clearly Prime Minister Narendra Modi has an agenda and he's pursuing it to the T.
Gaurav, stay with me for a moment. I also want to bring in Rahul Kamal, who's with us also live in New York City. Rahul, you just had an extensive chat with Ajay Banga of MasterCard. We just played out that entire interaction. A great deal of promise, a great deal of anticipation among many of those business leaders after their meeting with Modi.
We also got an award with Indira Nooyi and several of the other top CEOs who were there. They've come out quite elated. They're saying that he's a brilliant man, he's a man of action, we're very impressed with him. That's the general feeling. But I think beyond just these generalities, beyond just the hype and the enthusiasm, American business leaders did some plain talking with the Prime Minister. I think the underlying theme, from what I've been able to gather with through a handful of conversations, Shiv, seems to have been, you decide what policy you want. You decide the governance framework, the administrative framework. But once that is decided, let there be consistency. Consistency, consistency, consistency. That seems to have been the message being sent by American business leaders to the Indian Prime Minister when they met here at the New York Palace Hotel where we are this morning. That's what they want. That's what they expect. I think they were quite frustrated with the fact that in India, there is no consistency. You come in thinking that the governance architecture is X and suddenly the goalpost shifts to Y, and that complicates life for American business. They asked for consistency, and the Prime Minister, from what we are told, has promised them that under him things will be different, that there will be consistency in policy. He's told them that those were things of the past, and because he's starting Shiv from a new slate, because this is a new Prime Minister, a new team, a new mandate, he therefore has the credibility to say that, because he's not undermined by the misdemeanors or the indiscretions of the previous government. He's starting off fresh. Indira Nooyi came out and said, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. He's brilliant, and that's what she said. We heard what Ajay Banga said, the MasterCard CEO. They've come out quite enthusiastic. These are crucial people. It's interesting to see how important a part business leaders and meeting business leaders is in the Prime Minister's itinerary. After this, the Prime Minister will be meeting several top CEOs one-on-one, apart from this breakfast level meeting. One-on-one meetings, GE, KKR, BlackRock, to understand what their problems are specifically and to reach out to them. And I'm told that he's already spoken to his officials to understand before he meets with CEOs of each of those companies, what their specific problems are, what their specific concerns are. And I'm told he has action points. Like yesterday, when he spoke at Madison Square Garden, he had action points to announce for the Indian American community. We're told that he's got similar action points laid out for these American CEOs as well, which could make them very happy, Shiv.
Gaurav, you had a lot of conversations with many Indian American, business leaders as well, during this visit. They've got their own set of expectations, don't they? I mean, at the end of the day, the public sort of adulation, the expectations of a certain community. But at the end of the day, there are business persons as well who have certain expectations. So apart from big business, it's also business across the board. Investment, confidence, lack of any kind of, uncertainty in the economy, in the stock markets, that all of these people are really looking for. As Rahul said, consistency is what they want.
Spot on, Shiv. Predictability is what they want, because as some of these industry captains were telling us, and especially Indian Americans, capitalists are cowards. The moment there is tension, the moment there is a situation which is unpredictable, capital takes flight. They don't want to stay in an uncertain environment. So what they're looking for is predictability. What they're looking for is certainty. And the Prime Minister also in his conversations is telling them, tell me what you want, I will create that environment for you. I'll give you a small example. Yesterday, he met the governor of South Carolina, Nikki Haley, and in that conversation, there were two things which came out in a big way. Boeing has a major interest in South Carolina. Boeing also has a major interest in India. So how can those two interests be interlinked is what Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Governor of South Carolina, Nikki Haley, spoke of. Service sector has a major role in South Carolina. India is looking at the service sector in a very big way, especially in the field of human resources and development. That is something the two talked about. So that is again an area of interest where India and America see eye to eye. And this is again an area of interest where the Prime Minister hopes India and America can move forward on. So these are lines on which these conversations are happening.
Yes.
Tell us the environment you want. We will create that environment, and that predictability and consistency is the buzzword today, Shiv.
It's the buzzword today, and another area of interest, Rahul, and if I could ask you that, because you had spoken to Indra Nooyi and Ajay Banga and some of the others, this consistency, this predictability that they're looking for. Many of these business leaders, like we've been talking, have been doing business in India for many, many years. They probably have a jaded sense about certain things as well. So bringing back and instilling confidence is going to be an absolutely epic sort of exercise, despite the kind of confidence that Narendra Modi may inspire in these business leaders.
The sheer scale of our economy, the sheer size of our population gives an unprecedented opportunity.
Yes.
Given that China has maxed out in terms of growth, is still growing, but not as fast as it was in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, means that despite these hiccups, the tolerance level is high, because despite these hiccups, India still remains a big opportunity. And if the niggles can be ironed out, and if things fall into place, India will still remain a big opportunity. Shiv, give me a moment to bring into our broadcast right now Tejinder Singh. He's one of the top Indian-American journalists out of Washington. He was at the Prime Minister's dinner last evening. We've just spotted him. I've invited him to this live shot. Tejinder, you were at the big Prime Minister's reception hosted by the Indian ambassador at the Taj Pierre Hotel. Give our viewers a sense of the atmospherics while you were there. What happened?
The Prime Minister was supposed to arrive at around 7 o'clock, but he arrived around 7:35, and people did not behave very well. Like there was commotion, there was continuous announcements on the public system that please take your seat, and everybody was standing up. But then when he came and the things quieted down, and he started after the greetings, the first thing he said was bhojan ke samay bhashan isse badi saja aur koi nahi ho sakti. And people, the mood changed, and then he taught in less than, I think, 7 or 8 minutes, he, in a very crisp but very focused speech, he talked that any economy that is going to have standing on one pole is definitely going to collapse. And so we have to have three sustained poles, and he defined them as agriculture, manufacturing and tourism. And he said that manufacturing is important because it creates jobs, and we have this youth force. But he made more focus on tourism. He said that it's a $3 million business economy, and India has missed out on it most of the time. And then he addressed the diaspora and said that I don't want your dollars and, interestingly, pounds, but I will ask you for one thing. If every Indian can get 5 Indian, non-Indian American families to visit India every year, so you can, he said, multiply and see where what I'm talking about. And then he was very, very, in a very short way, he addressed the people. He was quiet. And then, as soon as he finished, another commotion started, because they announced that there were more than 727, nearly 750 guests, and they announced that he is going to stand there and shake hands with everybody, and the official photographers will take a picture, and those pictures will be posted on the embassy's website. And so it was a Herculean task, but everybody got a picture taken and a handshake with him.
And what people were also saying is, where does this man get his energy from? Because he's only on Nimbu and Pani and honey right now. And the joke here, Shiv, seems to be there are 2 Modi credos. One is na khaunga na khane dunga. The other seems to be na sounga na sone dunga.